All rise. We will obey. Please be seated.
We're in open session, Your Honors.
Thank you very much. The witness had requested slight extension to lunch break before we rose, and we told her that we would, at any rate, be discussing some legal, logistical, well, not logistical, but some legal question, and she will be joining us. So we understand she's on standby as soon as signaled. She'll be joining us. But in the meantime, the matter of the excusal request, not request, the excusal matter, we gave notice that we will require presence of Mr. Ruto throughout the testimony of witness 28. And Mr. Hooper said somewhat the ball is in the corner of the prosecution to verify that that witness is indeed attending during the session after Easter. Ms. Renton, who will speak to that?
My colleague, Mr. Garcia.
Good afternoon, Your Honors. Simply in this case regarding the witness P19, P28, both witnesses, I understand that Mr. Hooper is questioning whether indeed they will be coming to testify in the post-Easter scheduled session. The thing is, we still have to meet them this week, probably on Friday and early next week. So at this specific moment, we're not able to inform the Chamber or confirm that they will indeed be present during the post-Easter session that has been scheduled on Friday. I understand that Mr. Hooper has indicated that maybe the submissions should be postponed until we have certainty in that regard. We can make our submissions today if the court pleases, or if not, maybe the more reasonable way of going about this is to wait for the prosecution to be able to speak with both these witnesses to confirm the fact that they will be able to attend on the post-Easter session, and at that point, well, then maybe we can debate the whole question of, I understand the Chamber wanted to hear our submissions on the matter of Mr. Ruto's presence, so maybe that might be the appropriate time for it.
Mr. Hooper, why do we have to wait until confirmation?
Mr. President, with your leave, I will address this issue. Your Honours, we are grateful for the intimation that was given by the bench last week, and the starting point, of course, as Mr. Ruto himself has stated on many occasions, that he will comply with any and all orders of the trial chamber. And if the trial chamber require his attendance, it goes without saying he will be here. I think my learned friend Mr. Hooper, and we discussed matters last week, was raising a practical matter, because it's anticipated that the testimony of P28 will be very significant in terms of duration. I think maybe I would anticipate the prosecution, we have a time estimate, but they will be at least a week, a working week in chief. The defence will be at least that. And I've spoken to my learned friend, Mr. Katwa Keegan, for Mr. Sang, and they will also take at least 1 week. So I think it's fair to say that even if there's no interruptions and legal argument, it could well take 4 weeks to deal with that issue. Now, Your Honours, until we have a clear intimation from the prosecution regarding when they hope P28 to start, we are not in a position to make any submissions to the bench about whether or not we would ask for the court to allow some dispensation within that period. So, Your Honours, what I would ask is that the prosecution do let us know in a more concrete manner when they anticipate P28 will come. Your Honour, and it's not only related, in fact, to the issue of Mr. Ruto's attendance. P28's transcripts alone amount to more than 3,000 pages. It's a very hefty, detailed interview over a considerable amount of time that the prosecution engaged with this witness. And, Your Honours, for our own preparations, it's not a witness that we can simply pick and run with. We want to know when this witness is going to be required to come into the witness box. So, Your Honours, the second motivation that compels, we say, clarity from the prosecution at the earliest possible juncture, and we'd ask that my learned friend use his best endeavours to give us as soon as possible a more concrete date when P28 is coming. My learned friend Mr. Hooper has also intimated, we think, and we've sent an email to my learned friend, the senior trial attorney, Mr. Steinberg, that we think it wholly unrealistic, in our humble and respectful submission, that we could deal with both P19 and P28 in one session. The prosecution estimation, if I was right, for P19 was 14 hours, and it can be corrected if I'm wrong, and I think for P28, 12. Well, Your Honours, P28 will be very extensive, and we previously said that it may be more prudent, more realistic, and more effective to focus on getting P28, for the sake of argument here, straight after Easter. And we have quite a few witnesses, for example, P13 and P32, that the prosecution have described as fillers that could quite easily, in our estimation, of course not privy to the knowledge of the prosecution, could be put in to be fillers, and gap that may exist in the event that P28's testimony, in our estimation, of course not privy to the knowledge of the prosecution, could be put in.
سؤال تفضل.
Witness, I am just restating what the person you saw in the video said. And this is what he said. The order is impractical and cannot be implemented within the realities of our operations. This order undermines the democratic gains that this country has made. We feel that this order is an overreaction by the Minister, considering that the media has upheld professional standards in the coverage of the elections. And witness, the question I'm asking you is, did you hear that in the video? Mr. President, I will proceed to the next person in the video.
Mr. King-Kato, at some point you might give a thought to whether there is any significance to the, did you say that was Mr. Wachira Waruru?
Yes, Mr. President.
Any significance to what he was saying towards the end, about what the media would and would not accept? Did that mean anything factually?
Mr. President, my interest in the item, as I assume is obvious, is to show that there was in fact an order banning live coverage.
But there was also the other side of it. How was that order received and implemented in fact?
I'm alive to that, Mr. President, and Mr. President will recall that that is the reason why I started with the first document I referred to being the writing by one Gabriel Lynch, where we looked at a footnote which addresses that question, Mr. President.
Whether or not it addresses that question is a matter to be debated at the right time. While you have a witness on the stand and you're putting certain things to her, I thought you might, but you keep that in mind at any rate.
I will keep it in mind. I am, however, choosing not to ask at this point that question, Mr. President. I want you to look at the next speaker and confirm if you recognize him. And I will very kindly request if you could listen keenly to what he says. I will read out back what he has said. He is speaking in English. And Your Honours and prosecution, I am referring to Ken-OTP-0054-0124. That is the page number. And it is tab 23.
And rather will not accept any attempt to black us out.
Elsewhere, the leader of ODM, Raila Odinga, also condemned the move.
Well, you can only now rely on the international media. And that's why we want to appeal to you to be available so that we can talk to you. Because there's no way that we can reach the people of Kenya. Even if we want to tell the people to be calm, there's no way we can reach them.
Witness, did you see the person there? Could you confirm that is Raila Odinga, Honorable Raila Odinga?
Yeah.
Now, witness, I will read out what he has said and I will request you to confirm that that's what you heard him say. We can only now rely on international media. That is why we want to appeal to you to be available so we can talk to you. Because there is no way that we can reach the people of Kenya. Even if we want to tell the people to be calm, there is no way we can reach them. Witness, do you remember hearing Honorable Raila Odinga saying that in that video?
Nimemsikia hapa.
And in 2007, what was the status of Honorable Raila Odinga in the period December 2007 and January 2008?
Sorry, rudia.
Witness, what I was asking you is whether you know what was the status of Honorable Raila Odinga in political circles in the period December 2007 into January 2008.
Nilijua Raila kama mgombea kiti cha ODM na alikuwa anagombea kiti cha upresident. Raila
Raila termed it as a way of gagging the media, yet it is charged the responsibility of informing Kenyans what is going on around them. Meanwhile, government spokesperson Alfred Mutua defended the government, saying it does not intend to gag the media at all.
This is a temporary measure. We hope to lift it within a day or two once the emotions get down. So it is not a ban on media or media freedom. It is just telling, and it is actually meant to for vernacular radio stations, especially, not even television, where people are calling in or people are inciting others to take up arms and burn houses of their neighbors. We are saying listen to the content first before you air it. And you can air it in 3 seconds later or 30 seconds later. It is not telling you that you cannot broadcast or that you cannot choose your content.
Now, you don't take 10.
Witness, do you know the person who was shown on the video?
Nimeona Alfred Mutua, nimekuwa nikimsikia. Nimeona Kozgin.
And witness, in the period 2007 December to January 2008, do you recall what office Alfred Mutua held in government?
Alikuwa msemaji wa serikali.
Now, witness, this is what he said. I want you to confirm that's what you heard him say. This is a temporary measure. We hope to lift it within a day or two once the emotions get down. So it is not a ban on media or media freedom. It's just telling, and it is actually meant to, for vernacular stations, especially not even television, where people are calling in or people are inciting others to take up arms and burn houses of the neighbors. We are saying, listen to the content first before you air it. And you can air it 3 seconds later or 30 seconds later. It is not telling you that you cannot broadcast or that you cannot use your content. Witness, you recall having heard the government spokesman say that.
Nimemuona hapa. Nimesikia kitamka.
Witness, I want to show you the last person in this video that I want to make reference to. Please listen to him carefully, then I'll read out what he has said.
Year-olds and 14-year-olds who cannot even vote too seriously. I think it was a bit of incitement. In fact, we know the specific incitement came from one FM station. We dealt with that FM station. This particular announcer was removed from air because he had said that if the announcement of the election is other than the ODM candidate, then get out of your homes and go to the streets and do what you can to stop this from happening. That was a specific announcer in a tribal language, and it caused a lot of mayhem. But we did deal with that.
Money.
Now, witness, you confirm we had seen this person, Raphael Tuju, earlier on, isn't it?
Ulimuona kwa hii video bado?
Now, witness, could you confirm this is what you heard him say just in the video that I've just shown you? Now, you don't take 10-year-olds and 14-year-olds who cannot even vote too seriously. I think it's a bit of incitement. In fact, we know this specific incitement came from one FM station. We dealt with that FM station. This particular announcer was removed from air because he had said that if the announcement of the election is other than the ODM candidate, then get out of your house, of your homes, and go to the streets and do what you can to stop this from happening. That a specific announcer in a tribal language, and it caused a lot of mayhem, but we will deal with that. We did deal with that. Witness, you confirm having heard this in the video I've just shown you.
Sielewi kama mtafsiri wangu anashindwa kutafsiri vizuri ama ni wewe Mr. Katwa, kwa sababu ananiuliza uliwahi, na nimeongelea hilo jambo kwa muda. Uliwahi ni mambo yale ulisikia kitambo, na mambo yenye umesikia saa hizi umeyasikia, sio uliwahi, umeyasikia. Sasa hebu rudia swali lako. Nafikiria kuna shida kwa mtafsiri, anasema uliwahi. Kulingana na kile Kiswahili mimi naelewa, uliwahi ni kama kitu kilisemwa kitambo. Uliwahi sikia.
Witness, all I have asked you is whether you just heard it in the video that I've just played right now.
Nimesikia vile amesema.
Now, witness, the last set of questions I want to ask you on this issue is, having heard all those people, Raphael Tuju, Honorable Raphael Tuju, Honorable Raila Odinga, Waruru, Wachira Waruru, you still maintain that there was no ban of live broadcast in the period end of December 2007 and January 2008.
Nafikiria mimi nimesema sikusikia, na hapa umenionyesha video. Ndani ya hii video yako hujanieleza ni ya mwaka gani, ni ya mwezi gani, na niliuliza hilo swali.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Witness, did you know if there was any other Kalenjin, any other FM station that was broadcasting in Kalenjin?
Sijui kwa sababu sikufungua hiyo vituo vingine, na hata ile station mimi nilisikia ni Gas FM, na kama maybe kulikuwa na kituo kingine sielewi, sijui.
Mr. King Katwa, on this matter of ban on live broadcast, have you really established this agreement with the witness, or if I might approach the proposition from a different angle, a meeting of the mind on what's meant by banning live broadcast. The witness is saying that, as far as she was concerned, the broadcast kept on going. Might she be thinking that, talking about a blackout completely, for a period where there's no broadcast at all, or continuous broadcast that would have been delayed broadcast, like we do of the proceedings of this court, so that somebody who was not there, who might not have been at the source of it, so caught the stream of events, may not know that there is a delayed broadcast.
Mr. President, I think the witness has confirmed that to the best of our knowledge, there was an incident when CAS FM was closed in the year 2006, which we contest. However, I could put the proposition to him whether he has an understanding between closure and ban of live broadcast. I would, however, wish to explain that our proposition remains that when the ban was put in place, CAS FM did not air anything except music and peace messages. That is actually our case.
So there we go. So your proposition was that during the period there was a complete non-broadcast of CAS FM programs, not just a delayed broadcast of some of the programs. Is that it?
Absolutely, Mr. President. We absolutely know. The only messages that were aired were peace messages, including the two that we've played and others, and all these were pre-recorded and were replayed several times.
The procedure, you said you wanted to ask her whether she appreciated the difference between delayed broadcast and closure completely, or rather ban on live broadcast, which means delayed broadcast was permitted, versus ban as in complete blackout of broadcasts.
Now, witness, it is you testified a while ago that, to the best of your knowledge, there was a ban on CAS FM in the year 2006. You remember that, witness?
Ndio.
Now, the question I'm asking you in respect to December 2007 and January 2008 is that there was an order from government saying that there should be no live broadcast at the moment of the event, rather that there should be delay in broadcasting whatever the stations collected. Do you understand the difference, witness?
Sielewi kutangazwa moja kwa moja ama vipindi vilivyorekodiwa, kwa sababu sijui. Sielewi. Sijui unamaanisha nini, kwa sababu hata 2006 hiyo unaongea, sikujua CAS FM imefungwa. Nilisikia nikiwa kwa barabara. Na hiyo 2007, 2008 CAS FM ilikuwa inapeperusha matangazo yake kama kawaida. Na video yako umenipa.
Oh, okay, thank you, witness. Let me just ask you very directly like this, witness. Were you aware of any order issued by the minister in charge of internal security regulating how media houses were to delay their broadcasts?
Sijui.
Mr. President, I would like to leave that issue there because my understanding is that she's not aware completely about the ban, whether it was delay one way or the other. Now, witness, I want to ask you if you are aware of the following vernacular stations, and please, without explaining, just confirm whether you know it or you don't know. Do you know an FM station called Chamke FM station broadcasting in Kalenjin in Kenya?
Spelling?
The spelling is CHAMGEI.
Kuko na ilikuwa Chamge FM na hata leo bado iko Chamge FM.
Witness, do you know another station called Egesa broadcasting in Kisii? And the spelling of Egesa is EGESA.
Nafikiria hiyo Egesa nimeisikia juzi wakati walikuwa wanaenda kulodge, sijaisikia tena. Na kama ilikuweko, nafikiria Bwana Katwa kuna mahali hatuelewani na wewe. Saa hizi umeniwekea video hapa. Na watch hii video hapa. Wakati nina watch hii video, let's assume hii ni Citizen. Will I be able to go and switch? Nifungue tena. Niende nifungue NTV. Niko hapa naangalia Citizen, macho wengine iangalie NTV. Na nimekueleza tangu mwanzo. Mimi nilikuwa nasikiza Kass FM. Kwa hivyo kama kulikuwa na hiyo vipindi vingine, mongeni.
I would like the transcript to be corrected at page 82, line 17, to state that it was broadcasting in Kisii language. Kisii is K-I-S-I-I. A witness, are you aware of a station called Inoro, which broadcasts in Kikuyu? And the spelling of Inoro is I-N-O-O-R-O.
Ndiyo najua. Hata iko sasa.
A station called Mulembe. Mulembe is M-U-L-E-M-B-E, and it broadcasts in Luya, and Luya is L-U-H-Y-A.
Haitwi Mlembe, inaitwa Mrembe FM. Mrembe hamujamboni kwa Kiluya na iko mpaka leo.
And a station called Mushi, M-U-S-Y-I, and it broadcasts in Kamba. Kamba is K-A-M-B-A.
Sijui.
A station called Muuga. Muuga is M-W-G-A, and it broadcasts in Meru. Meru spelling is M-E-R-U.
Iko mpaka leo.
Line 18 of the transcript, Muuga, the spelling of Muuga is M-U-U-G-A. Witness, there is a station called Wimwaro. Wimwaro is spelled W-I-M-W-A-R-O, and it broadcasts in Embu. The spelling of Embu is E-M-B-U. Are you aware of that station, witness?
Sijui.
Witness, there is a station called Ramogi. Ramogi is spelled R-A-M-O-G-I, and it broadcasts in Luo, and Luo spelling is L-U-O. Are you aware of that station, witness?
Naijua.
Witness, there is a station by the name Radio Ma.
Mr. Kingikapa, how many more radio stations in non-English are you going to list?
Probably one last one, Mr. President. I had more than that, but I'll just do one last one. Witness, are you aware of a station called Kitwek FM? And the spelling of Kitwek is K-I-T-W-E-K, which broadcasts in Kalenjin?
Naijua Kitwe. Na iko mpaka leo.
Now, the last question I want to ask you, witness, is I want to show you a document, then I am done with this issue of the life ban, and that is, Your Honors, at tab 17. And the reference is Ken-0TP-0010-0021, tab 17. With your permission, Your Honor, I request to have the witness look at that document. Now, witness, that document is a letter dated 30th December 2007, written to one Dr. Bitange Ndemo, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Information and Communication. Can you see that, witness?
Naiona.
And witness, you can see at the bottom it is, I'm sorry, and you can see at the bottom it is signed by one Honorable John Michuki, Minister of State for Provincial Administration and Internal Security. Can you see that, witness?
Nimeona.
Now, it states that reference invoking the powers under Section 88 of the Kenya Communication Act 19 98 in the interest of public safety. In the interest of public safety and tranquility, I hereby direct you to invoke the powers under Section 88 of the Kenya Communication Act 1998. You are further directed to review the impact of its implementation and report to me accordingly. You can see that, witness. Witness, can you see that?
Naiona.
Lastly, you see it is copied to the Commission. Lastly, you can see that I'm sorry about that. Now, witness, I wanted to ask you that you lastly noticed that it is copied to the Commissioner of Police, one Major General Hussein Ali, and the Director General, Communication Commission of Kenya. You can see that, witness.
Naiona.
Mr. President, I would like to seek to produce the documents I have referred to as exhibits at this point so that I leave that subject. Mr. President, the first item I wish to pray to have produced as an exhibit is at tab 3. It is an article written by one Gabriel Lim. It is document OTP-0046-0014 at page 0022. And Mr. President, it addresses directly the testimony of the witness and is a prosecution document. I pray that it be exhibited as it be admitted as an exhibit. I just put emphasis on the fact that we want to put in page 0022.
Prosecution?
I believe it was only a 3 or 4 line footnote which was actually referred to, so if anything should be admitted, I think perhaps it should just be admitted to that specific portion or in its entirety. I don't see why one specific page should be selected out of everything else.
Mr. President, in the article, that's the only relevant part to the media issues, and it was the only part that is relevant to the testimony of this witness, Mr. President. And if the prosecution's concern is that they would rather we produce the footnote alone, we really don't have an objection to that. We are happy to have the footnote because that's actually the concentration of our concern.
Her point was, you've read in the footnote. Why do you need to want to tender the document just for the footnote you've already read in? Or if you want to put in the document, then the whole thing comes in. That's what she's saying.
Mr. President, to the extent to which I have explained the order and its relevance to the witness, I'm okay if it is marked for identification.
and marked for identification.
Mr. President,
Go on, Mr. King Cutler.
Mr. President, looking at the transcript, I understood the prosecution to be agreeable to having the portion that we refer to admitted as an exhibit, and we pray that that is admitted as an exhibit, Mr. President.
Is that your position?
The portion referred to is on the record, so if that's all that's going in, then it can be MFI and the record is complete.
Well, let's mark this for identification, okay?
This document will bear the following number: MFI T D11 00036.
Mr. President, the next item we pray to have admitted as an exhibit is the audio of 1st of January 2008, and it is Ken-D11-0011-0045, being the peace message of 1st of January 2008 by Mr. Sang, and in respect to which the witness confirms recognizing the voice.
Your Honour, the prosecution has previously opposed the tendering of a similar recording. We have objections to the authenticity and to the integrity. All the witness did was recognise Mr. Sang's voice. She said that she did not hear it on the day that my learned friend says it was broadcast. If she had, that would be one indicia of authenticity, but she didn't. We note from the chain of custody that it was produced from the second accused, and without some independent evidence as to its authenticity, we don't think it should be admitted, and Your Honours have made a ruling on a very similar item in the past. I can give a reference if you require it.
Mr. King Cutler.
Mr. President, what you said previously is that you deal with each item as it comes. And, Mr. President, we insist that this audio as indicia of authenticity, in the sense that we already gave the prosecution notice of our intention to use this audio amongst others, and it is founded on an affidavit sworn by one Julius Lamaon, who has sworn that he is the Chief Executive Officer of the Kass FM station, or rather the company that runs the Kass FM station. That particular audio is specifically mentioned at paragraph 54, and that notice is Ken D11 0013 0072, and it is an affidavit sworn on the 8th of January 2014. That is in the smaller binder, Your Honours, tab 1. Your Honours will also recall that this witness very specifically says there were no peace messages made by Mr. Sang. We submit that this document goes directly to answer and to respond to that allegation made against Mr. Sang. Mr. President, even if the issue of authenticity was a significant consideration in determining whether or not to accept this document, we submit that issue can be addressed later on. The issue of its authenticity can be addressed later. We submit that to the extent to which it is an issue of authenticity and it directly addresses issues raised in the testimony of this witness, it should be admitted as an exhibit.
You began by saying you were tendering it because the witness recognized the voice.
Yes, and that creates the proximity, at least the initial proximity to the audio between the witness and the item we seek to exhibit, Mr. President and Your Honors.
How did we deal with similar material in the past?
Mr. President, in the past, where we have produced audios which go to address what the witness has said specifically, you have allowed us to exhibit them, even if the witness does not recognize that specific audio.
And even if there was no apparent indicium of authenticity?
In the past, Your Honors, the affidavit sworn by the Chief Executive of CAS-FM has served to assist on the issue of the indicia of authenticity, combined with the fact that the prosecution have had notice that we intend to use them and have had opportunity to counter-check if they have any problem as to whether or not those documents and those items were aired.
That's a separate consideration, isn't it? That you've given prosecution advance notice that you were going to tender it. Something different from saying that the affidavit of CAS-FM manager was accepted as authenticating the document. I'm not sure that's the case. We will mark it for MFI for now, and you need to return to it later on. The reason is because there's been so many attempts to introduce materials. I know there were some instances where material had an apparent indicia of authenticity. The question was whether a witness had viewed that sort of material in the past. And I remember the ruling on one occasion was when we have such documents that are apparently authentic, well, apparent indicia of authenticity, but the witness had spoken, although the witness did not preview it in the past, but had testified during examination in chief on that matter, and the document itself goes to address the subject that the witness had testified to in chief. We had said we would admit it, notwithstanding that the witness had not seen it in the past. But that is something different from just an audio recording that we don't see anything around it to indicate whether or not it is authentic.
Mr. President, will recall that witness number 356 already testified and confirmed that these messages were broadcasted in the period of end of December into January 2008. And even on the basis of that, Mr. President, we are arguing that the prosecution themselves, through their own witnesses, concede that in fact these messages were made. Mr. President, if I ought to, I would probably prefer that both this audio of 1st of January 2008 and 4th of January 2008 would be put on hold so that I collate together all the arguments made in respect to production of the audios and come back and argue.
Yes, and that's what I was indicating. I said that's why we should mark it for identification now, subject to you returning later on to argue your point about converting that to evidence. What I see would be a scenario where if you have other evidence of authenticity, you can argue it at a later point. Or better still, if we get to the point of the evidence for the defense, you can also call evidence in that regard. Whichever comes first, we can deal with it in that more flexible manner. Do you understand?
I do, Mr. President. I only seek that I be allowed to argue the point at the end of this witness's testimony with a view to seeking to have...
Yes, you can return to it later. It doesn't matter when you do it.
I'm up.
Yes. In the meantime, Council can also look at the record, see how we've dealt with this in the past. See, there's so many of these things happening. It's difficult to have a computer memory of all of that.
The next item I wish to seek to produce is the video Ken-OTP-0048-0094 and the transcript Ken-OTP-0054-0119 being a citizen video on media ban. Mr. President, this video goes directly to answer the question as to whether or not Sang said the 6 items that were allegedly said by Mr. Sang on the 31st of December, and they are very directly relevant to the testimony of the witness. Secondly, Your Honors, this is the prosecution's own document, and we pray to that extent they be admitted as Sang's defense exhibits.
Ms. Renton?
No objection for that item, Your Honour.
Then it is admitted as the next in the Sang defense exhibit.
Thank you, Mr. President. The audio Ken OTP 0048-0094 will bear the following number: EVD-T-D11 00037. The transcript and translation Ken OTP 0054-0119 will bear the following number: EVD-T-D11 00038. The 2 items would be also known as Sang Defense Exhibit number 37 and 38 and will be registered as public items.
The next item I pray to have admitted as an exhibit, Mr. President and Your Honors, is the letter from one John Michuki, which is at tab 17, Ken-OTP-0010-021, together with the Communication Act of 1998, which is at tab 18, Ken-D11-0014-0324. The relationship between the two is that the letter makes reference to the Communication Act, and particularly Section 88, and it is our view that the Chamber would be better enabled to appreciate the issues discussed in it if they have the advantage of the statute itself. Your Honors, may I mention also that this is a prosecution's own document.
Ms. Renton?
Yes, indeed, the first letter is an OTP document. The second, which was never referred to with the witness, is a defence document. Even though the letter is an OTP document, all that was done is my learned friend read it out and asked the witness to confirm that that was in fact written on the piece of paper. I don't really see that this is the correct procedure in order to have that and the accompanying sections of the Communications Act admitted into evidence.
Mr. President, may I first of all observe that in respect to this item, there is no issue of indicia of authenticity. so that the only question is its property value. And Mr. President, we've explained that it is our case that in fact at the period when it is alleged that Mr. Sang made the comments that we were dealing with, there was in fact a ban, and this letter goes directly to address that. Now, I acknowledge that the Communication Act 1998 that we have referred to is not part of the prosecution's documents. However, it is our submission that in the exercise of your discretion, there is some value in admitting also the Communication Act so that there is a context and so that the context in which the letter was written can be appreciated. We pray that it be admitted as a
So, Ms. Renton, are you objecting to both the letter and the Communications Act, or one or the other?
Seeing as they come in as a package, so to speak, I think it's most appropriate that neither of them be admitted. If the defence wished to establish that this letter was in fact sent and reference the section of the Telecommunications Act, then they may do that in the defence phase of the case. There's absolutely no link to this witness, so they haven't even passed the threshold of having some connection to the witness's evidence apart from her own understanding of what was going on at the time.
Mr. Katwa, the Chamber will not admit the letter. We do see, yes, it comes from the OTP. But you merely read out the letter. And there was no question really put to the witness on it. And he was a little curious as to why we are asked now to admit it. The witness has given her testimony. There are other methods of trying to bring this sort of material in other than through this witness. Is there not?
I will look at
yes, we will not be admitting it at this time.
The last item I wish to, Mr. President, do I understand that it will be being marked for identification?
If you seek to mark it for identification, it will be so done. Is that your request then?
Yes, I would rather that it be.
Right, it will be marked for identification.
Document CAN OTP 0010 0021 will bear the following number: MFI T D11 00039.
Proceed with the cross-examination.
Proceed, please. We have 5 minutes left.
Now, witness, you said that you heard Sang say that that work had been done well, but had not been completed in Kericho, a place you called Nyaikajo, and Molo. Did you say that? And I'm looking at page 9 and page 13 of transcript. transcript 100.
Ndio.
You also said that Mr. Sang used the words kwekwe and unyot. Did you say that, witness?
Ni ukweli.
Now, witness.
You might want the transcripts now got a spelling. There was no spelling or a second term at first, but it now got it. Proceed.
Now, witness, when did you say you had Sang say these things?
Ni kati ya tarehe 5 na tarehe 7 huko, kwa sababu tulikuwa tumefika showground. Tarehe 7, tarehe 8 hapo. Sina ukweli wa siku zenyewe, lakini nakumbuka tulikuwa tumefika showground.
And witness, we take it that you are talking of either between 5th and 7th of January 2008. Is it January or which month, witness?
Ni sio tarehe 5 wala sio tarehe 6, hata sio tarehe 7. Nakumbuka vizuri, nilikuwa karibu, kwa sababu tulifika tarehe 6, tarehe 10 Januari, tarehe 10 hapo hivyo, kuanzia tarehe 10 hapo Januari 2008.
So do we take it that it is your testimony that these things were said on the 10th of January, or I just want you to be sure whether you know the dates, or what is your position about when it was broadcasted?
Nakwambia ni hizo tarehe, kwa sababu kuna jambo fulani ambaye napimanisha naye. Ni hizo tarehe.
You've given us 5th to 7th, then 6th.
Samahani. Si tarehe 5, sio tarehe 6, si tarehe 7, si tarehe 8, ni kuanzia tarehe 10 hapo. Kwa sababu nakumbuka.
And witness, I want you to...
Just a minute. Naweza kukuambia kitu ambacho kilifatana na hiyo siku wanitangaza. Wakati huo kulikuwa na wajamaa.
Just a minute, witness. Witness, you know we are in an open session, so I just want you to be careful about it. If it's something you can say in open session, it's okay.
Hata hiyo haina shida. Nakuwa wazi kwa sababu kila mtu alikuweko.
Please say it.
Ni wakati ambapo chifu wa Chemuswa aliuawa Langas. Walikuwa wamekuja, tulikuwa showground nakumbuka. Hiyo usiku. Na hao walikuwa wanakuja kufagia mara ya mwisho showground. Walikuwa wanakuja kuvamia showground. Eko ikawapeleka Langas, wakauliwa Langas. Walikuwa wameenda kuua watu dakika ya mwisho. Chifu wa Chemuswa. Hiyo wakati ndio Mr. Sang alisema.
And witness, you said it was around 10th. Could you give us a range? It was between 10th and when, if it is a variety of dates, or was it exactly 10th?
Nafikiria nimekuambia, asijui nitakwambia vipi. Nimekueleza ya kuwa kuanzia tarehe 10 hapo ambapo sina siku kamili, nimesahau hiyo siku. Na ikiwa nitakuwa nimekumbuka kesho, naweza kukuambia. Yeah.
I have understood you to that extent, witness. All I'm asking is, much as you may not remember the exact date, but it was around 10th, could you give us a range of dates? Was it between 10th and 30th, or between 10 and 30th, or between, what is the range of the period?
Nafikiria nimekuambia kuanzia tarehe 10 hapo, siwezi kusema ni tarehe 12, tarehe 13 kwa sababu sikumbuki. Kumbuka nitakwambia. Lakini kuna hilo jambo lile kitendo nimekuambia. Na wakati huo hakukurudi kuingia IDPs wengine kwenye kambi. Watu walikuwa wameshakuja wakati huo. Wale watu walikuwa wamebaki ni watu wa estate, watu familia ya watu watatu, na waliendewa na Red Cross. Tulikuwa tayari tumeingia kwa hema.
And witness,
Mr. King Capital, we have to adjourn. But
could
do
I
you
ask
have?
one question?
Pardon me?
I just ask one question.
Yes.
Witness, having told us it was 10th onwards, is it your testimony that it was definitely not the 8th of January?
Sio tarehe 8.
I can leave it there.
We will leave it there, witness. We will leave it there for now, and come back tomorrow at 9:30. Please do not discuss your testimony overnight. Thank you. The blinds will come down, and the witnesses are shut out of the court.